Do you like maths, or you are just doing it just to pass your exams? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. So here, this is a problem that involves logarithm and what? Exponent. And you know that logarithm and exponents have a very big relationship. So you can see that our goal is to find x and find what? Y. But here we have 2 power 2x minus 3y is equals to 32, and log of base y of x is equals to 2. Let's find x. So before we do, we can do a little simplification in this first term. You know that we have 2 power 2x minus 3y, and that's equals to 32 can be seen as the product of 2. It can be expressed in the same base, which is just 2 times 2, 4, times 2, 8, times 2, 16, times 2, 32, 2 power 5. You have it as 2 to the power of 5. Then for the first term, you remember the clear definition of logarithm is that logarithm requires us to know how many times the base is going to be raised to get the number. So if you convert logarithm to exponents, you can now see that whenever we raise the base x times, we are getting the number. So in terms of exponents, b power x gives what? N. So here, when we raise the base 2 by power 2, we are getting the number x. So we can now say that y squared is equals to x in what? Exponential form. Good. So since we have this now, you can now see that the bases are equal. And in exponent, whenever we are solving and we notice that the bases are equal, what do? Let me know in the comments. So what we do is that we equate the power. So we have it as 2x minus 3y is equals to 5. So let's call this equation 1. Then for this, x is equals to y squared. Let's call it equation 2. So we now have two equations. So what we do is that we'll simply substitute the value of x, which is y squared, in the first equation. Okay? So we have it as 2 into x is now y squared. So instead of writing x, I write y squared. Then minus 3y is equals to 5. You can now see this is looking like a quadratic equation because here the highest power is 2, right? So we can now have it to be 2 times y squared is 2y squared. Then we have minus 3, minus 3y. Then we subtract 5 from both sides. Minus 5 is equals to 0. This is now a quadratic equation. So let's solve it quadratically by factoring. And to factorize a quadratic, you remember in my previous video, I told you multiply the last term to the first term. So 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. So now we are going to think of two numbers that multiplies to get 3, that multiplies to get minus 10, but adds to get minus 3. I want you to tell me that in the comments. Let me know who is following. Good. So what do? You see that 2y squared, the two numbers are 2 times minus 5. Because 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. 2 plus minus 5 is minus 3. So we can now say plus 2y minus 5y minus 5 equal to 0. I actually use this to expand the middle term. So we can now group the first two and group the last two. Okay? Factor out the common term between 2y and 2y squared and 2y. The answer is what? 2y. If you factor it, what do you have? You are left with y plus 1. Okay? So if you factor the common term, which is minus 5, you are left with y plus 1, and that's equals to 0. Good. If you have this, you see that 2y minus, you use the 2 factor, minus 5 into y plus 1 is equals to 0. And the quadratics, when two terms multiplies to get 0, one of them is 0 or both are zeros. So we are going to equate each term to 0. That means 2y minus 5 is equals to 0, or we have that y minus 1 is equals to 0. In that case, you can now see, for the first term, you can now see that we add 5 from both sides. So we have that 2y is equal to 5. Divide by 2, divide by 2. If you divide by 2, you see that y is equals to 5 over 2. Or we see that for the second term, you can now see that y plus 1, sorry, I made mistake. Y plus 1 is equals to 0. Okay? Y plus 1 is equals to 0. What do we do? Y is equals to minus 1. Okay? Y is minus 1. So these are the two possible values of what? Y. But here we are told that x is now y squared. So for us to get for x is equals to y squared. So all we need to do is that each values of y, we are going to square it. So for the first value of x will now be 5 over 2. So you have 5 over 2 all squared. And that will give you what? 5 squared is 25. 2 squared is 4. And that's the answer. Then for the second one, minus 1, x will be equals to what? Minus 1 all squared. And minus 1 squared is 1. So x is just what? 1. So x is 1 and x is 25 over 4. Same as y is minus 1 and y is 5 over 2. So this is y1, this is y2. So this one is y x1, x2, and this is what? X1. Okay? So don't forget to like and share this video so that you get notified anytime I come up here. See you next time. Comment your thoughts on the method and some of the observation you noticed. Let's see you next time. Bye.